The night was quiet, but the sky was not. Above the forest, a strange light moved fast like a falling star. It burned blue, sharp, and silent. Then suddenly, boom! A small explosion shook the trees, but no one in the city heard it. Far from roads and houses, the object crashed deep into the forest. It didn't burn. It didn't smoke. It just stopped. Jake was hiking alone. Far from everything, he was tired. Carrying a small flashlight and his camera, he saw the blue light and felt the ground shake. Curious and maybe a little stupid, he ran toward it. After walking 10 minutes, he found something, a small silver pod, shaped like an egg, smooth and shining under the moonlight. It had no door, no windows, just quiet humming sounds. Jake moved closer, slowly, holding his breath. Suddenly, the pod opened. A soft blue mist came out, and then a girl. She looked like a human, but not exactly. Her skin was pale, almost glowing. Her eyes were bright blue, like lightning. She wore a black suit with strange symbols glowing on it. She looked young, maybe 18 or 19, but her eyes looked older than time. Jake froze. He didn't know what to say, what to do. Was she human? A robot? A dream? Then she spoke, her voice soft but clear. "Everyone wants me. But I want you, human." Jake stepped back, shocked. "What? Who? What are you?" "I am not here to hurt you," she said. "My name is Alara." Suddenly, a loud buzzing sound came from the trees. Jake looked up and saw 3 black flying machines, small, like drones, but faster, sharper, deadly looking. They flew in circles, scanning the forest with red lights. Zalara turned to Jake, serious now. "They found me," she whispered. "You must run." Jake shook his head. "Who are they? What do they want?" "They want me," she said. "They want to take me back or kill me." The drone started firing small red lasers into the ground, burning the trees. Jake grabbed Zalara's hand, surprised that she felt warm, human. "Come on," he shouted, and pulled her into the forest. They ran fast, dodging between trees. Zalara stopped for 1 second, pulled out a small device from her belt. She pressed it, and a wave of blue energy shot out. Boom! The drones fell. Smoking, Jake looked at her, amazed. You're like a superhero," she smiled for the first time. "No, I'm just trying to live." They reached a small cave near the river. Jake helped her sit. He could see her breathing fast, tired. "Why did you come here?" he asked. "I was not sent," she said. "I escaped. They wanted to use me as a weapon." Jake was confused. "Why me? Why say you want me?" Zalara looked at him, calm but serious. "Because you're different. You don't know it yet. But I felt your signal across space. You have something. Something inside you." Jake laughed nervously. "I'm just a normal guy." "You're not," she said. "And they will come again. Bigger, stronger." Jake looked out at the dark forest. He felt afraid. But also something strange, like this was just the beginning. He looked back at her. "Okay, then tell me what to do." Zalara's eyes glowed softly. She smiled again. This time with hope. "Stay with me. Help me, and I'll show you everything." Far above them, in the black sky, something moved large, silent, deadly. Another ship was coming. The hunt had just begun. Darkness wasn't the scariest thing in the forest anymore. Now it was the sound, the low hum of machines in the sky. The forest used to breathe softly at night, but tonight it held its breath. Zalara sat near the cave's wall, her hands glowing faint blue. Her eyes were closed, but she was not sleeping. She was listening, not with ears, but with something deeper, something alien. Jake stood at the entrance, holding a stick like it was a sword. He didn't know what else to do. He wanted to protect her, but from what? He didn't even understand what she really was. Suddenly, Zalara opened her eyes. "They found me again," she said. "They're locking on my signal. We have 10 minutes, maybe less." Jake's heart raced. "How are they following you?" "My body holds a crystal," she replied. "A living code. They can feel it. They won't stop until they take it or destroy me. Boom! A soft explosion in the distance. Then another, closer. Jake looked at the trees. Red lights began to glow through the leaves. They're here, he whispered. No, she said calmly, standing up. They're not just here. They've brought a hunter. Jake didn't know what that meant, but her face turned cold, like stone. Her blue glow faded into a soft gray. A hunter? He asked, what is it? She looked at him and said one word, death. Suddenly, a shape landed in the forest with a crash. A tall figure, 7 feet high, made of metal and black armor. Its face was smooth like glass, no eyes, no mouth. It didn't walk, it glided, silently. It turned its head toward the cave, even without eyes. It knew exactly where Zalara was. Jake grabbed her hand. Run now. They ran deeper into the forest. Branches hit their faces. The ground was wet and full of roots. Behind them, the hunter moved like a shadow. Fast and silent, Jake looked back and saw nothing. But he could feel it following. Suddenly, a red light beam flashed beside his head. Boom! A tree exploded into dust. Jake fell, rolled, stood up again. Go left, Zalara shouted. She pressed her wristband ZZT. A blue wall of energy rose behind them. It stopped the hunter for 2 seconds, maybe 3, but it was enough. They jumped into a small tunnel under a broken road. Inside, it was dark, wet, and cold. Jake's breathing was heavy. Who builds things like that? Not built, Zalara said. Born. The hunter is part machine, part creature. They are used to find and kill, quickly and clean. Jake sat down, shocked. Why would anyone send that for you? Zalara hesitated. I stole something. She said, a map. Jake blinked. A map? Yes, she said. A star map. A path to something very old. And very dangerous. Before Jake could speak, the tunnel shook. The hunter had found them again. Can we fight it? He asked. Not yet, she said. But if we reach the city, I can hide my signal. Then let's go, Jake said. He no longer cared why or how. He just knew one thing. He couldn't let her face it alone. The two ran again, and behind them, deep in the shadows, the hunter smiled without a mouth. The real chase had just begun. The stars above Earth had always been quiet, but now they were watching. Not with eyes, but with memory. Long ago, something powerful moved across the stars. And now, that same power had come to Earth. Hiding in the body of a girl, Zalara stood. On a rooftop at night, looking at the sky, the city lights glowed behind her. But her eyes were far away, not on Earth, not even in this galaxy. Jake stood behind her, holding 2 cups of hot coffee. He handed her one. You sure no one followed? US? I'm sure, she said softly. I changed my signal. For now, they can't find me. They had escaped the hunter for now. But something had changed in Jake since that night in the forest. He kept seeing things, flashes of stars, ancient. Machines, a voice calling his name. He hadn't told her yet. He was afraid. Zalara took a small crystal from her jacket. It glowed when she touched it. This holds my memories, she said. Would you like to see who I really am? Jake hesitated, then nodded. Show me. She held the crystal in front of them. It floated in the air and spun slowly. Then light exploded from it, like a small galaxy growing in the sky. Jake saw visions, her world, her people, tall towers. Made of light, oceans that floated in the air, stars that moved when they sang. He saw her as a child, learning to speak to machines with her thoughts. He saw her as a princess, walking alone in empty rooms, always watched, never free. Then he saw something darker, a war, huge ships attacking cities. Black fire falling from the sky, a voice. The girl holds the map, get her. And then, running, hiding, falling through space, and landing on Earth. The vision ended. Jake stepped back, his eyes wide. That's your life? Zalara nodded. I wasn't just running from the war, she said. I was running from what they wanted me to become. Jake sat down on the rooftop ledge. And the map? What does it lead to? Her voice dropped to a whisper. To a weapon, she said. Older than time. A machine built by the first ones. No one should ever find it. Jake looked at his hands. Then why did you come to me? She turned to him serious. Because when I touched the map, I saw you. Not your face, but your energy, your code. It matched the ancient key. Jake stood up, angry and confused. I'm just a guy. A regular human guy. I live in a small apartment and work at a bookshop. Zalara took a step closer. You're not just human, she said. Not fully. Something in you. It's not from Earth. Jake shook his head. No, that's not possible. Have you had dreams lately? She asked. Voices? Lights? Pain in your chest? Jake froze. Yes, he whispered. How do you know that? She didn't answer. Instead, she touched his chest right over his heart. Her hand glowed blue, and so did his skin under it. Jake gasped. What is that? It's waking up, she said. You were never meant to live a normal life. Suddenly, the rooftop shook. A loud noise echoed through the night like thunder. But not from the sky, from below. Jake ran to the edge and looked down. Black vans with no license plates. Men in gray suits with strange weapons. They weren't government. They were something else. They found us again, Zalara said, already pulling out a device. Jake looked at her, his heart racing. What do we do? She looked at him not as a protector this time, but as an equal. We stop running, she said. We start fighting. Asterisk. It wasn't the bullets or lasers that hurt the most. It was trust. Once broken, it doesn't heal easily. Jake didn't know it yet, but someone close to him had already made a choice. And that choice would burn everything. 1 hour ago, Jake and Zalara sat in the basement of an old train station. A hidden place beneath the city, full of dust and silence. Zalara had placed her crystal into a small scanner, showing blue lines across the walls. This is a safe zone, she said. No signals in or out. We can rest for a little while. Jake finally sat down, tired and thinking. His world had changed too fast. Yesterday, he was a normal guy. Today, he had alien light in his chest and a galaxy chasing him. He reached for his phone. One message from his best friend Liam. Where are you, man? Cops are looking for you. Call me ASAP. Jake frowned. I should tell Liam I'm okay. He must be worried. Zalara looked at him sharply. No, she said. No phones. Even one message can give them our location. But he's my best friend, Jake said. He wouldn't betray me. She looked away, her voice colder. I've heard that sentence before, elsewhere at the same time. Liam sat in a black car with tinted windows. Across from him sat a man in a gray coat with a metal glove. Not police. Not military, something else. You're sure it's her? The man asked. Liam nodded nervously. She's with Jake. He trusts her too much. He doesn't even ask questions. The man smiled. Good, keep it that way. He dropped a silver cube in Liam's hand. Place this near them. It will do the rest. Liam looked down, regret in his eyes. But what will you do to her? The man stood up. Does it matter? You get your friend back. The world stays safe. She goes home. He left, and Liam sat alone, holding the cube, his hands shaking, back in the safe zone. Jake couldn't sleep. He stood near Zalara, who stared into the blue lines on the wall. Do you miss your home? He asked. She nodded. Slowly, but I also hated it, she said. They loved me, but as a weapon, not a person. Jake looked down. I think I'm changing, Zalara. Every time I close my eyes, I see things. Stars. Machines. Sometimes. You. She turned to him, surprised. You see me in your dreams? He nodded. I think. I saw your world before I met you. She stepped closer, then whispered. You were never random. I didn't crash near you by accident. But before she could explain, a beeping sound came from her scanner. Signal breach, she said. Someone placed a tracker inside this zone. They both looked around. Then Jake's eyes fell on something Liam's old backpack. He had left it with Jake 2 days ago. Jake opened it. Inside, a silver cube, glowing red. "No," Jake whispered. "Liam, why?" The walls began to flicker, signal exposed. Outside, black ships appeared over the city like shadows. Jake looked at Solara. "I didn't know." "I swear," she nodded. "I believe you," she said. "But they're coming. And this time, not just for me. What do we do?" he asked. Solara picked up her device, her eyes glowing bright again. "We survive." She grabbed his hand. But this time, it wasn't just to escape, it was a promise, and high above, one of the ships opened, revealing the hunter again. But now he wasn't alone. Change never knocks, it breaks the door, and when it enters, nothing remains the same. Jake didn't wake up. He jerked awake like something had pulled him out of a dream. His body was cold, but his skin was glowing. Blue lines ran across his arms like rivers of light. He was lying on a floor, not wood, not stone, but something smooth and warm. Above him, stars moved slowly, not in the sky, but on the ceiling. "Where am I?" he whispered. A soft voice answered. "You're inside the Ark." Jake turned and saw Solara, standing in a quiet chamber. Her hair was wet, her skin glowing brighter than before. She looked calm, but her eyes were worried. "You fainted," she said. "Your body is changing faster than expected." Jake sat up, touching the glowing lines on his arms. "What's happening to me?" "You're waking up," she said. "The key inside you, it's no longer sleeping." Jake's head hurt. Memories that weren't his began to flash. Flying cities, alien languages, silver hands reaching toward stars. He held his head. "Why is this happening to me?" Solara stepped closer. "Because you were chosen. Long ago. Before you were born." Jake shook his head. "I'm not special. I work at a bookshop. I take the bus. I eat cereal. You also survived a hunter. You saw my memories. And now your DNA is unlocking tech older than your planet." She raised her hand. A small cube floated in the air, spinning fast. Jake looked at it, and it stopped. The moment he focused, he gasped. "I didn't even touch it." "You didn't need to," Solara said. "Your mind is syncing with the code." Jake stood up, unsure whether to feel fear or wonder. "Is this permanent?" Solara paused. "Yes," she said. "You are not becoming alien. You are becoming you." Jake walked slowly through the Ark, a secret ship hidden underground. Ancient and half-broken, he could feel everything: machines pulsing, walls breathing, lights blinking like heartbeat. Then, a sudden noise crack. The ship trembled. Alarms echoed. Solara looked up. "They found us." "How?" Jake asked. "They're not tracking me anymore. They're tracking you," she said, eyes wide. Above the city, the ships circled like vultures. In the control chamber of the largest one, the hunter stood still. He watched Jake's light signature grow brighter. "Begin the next phase," he said. Below, machines awakened, and a single message was broadcast across every screen. A warning: return the girl, or watch your world fall. Back inside the Ark, Jake clenched his fists. "This is my fault now," he said. "No," Solara said, walking toward him. "It's your destiny." Jake turned to her. "I can't stop them." "You don't have to," she replied. "You only need to awaken fully." Then she did something she never had before. She placed her hands on both sides of his head. Her eyes glowed, her voice a whisper. "I'll share the rest with you now." Jake saw stars, stars like oceans. He saw her memories, her first flight, her fear, her escape, but also her loneliness, her quiet hope, her choice to find him. Jake fell to his knees, tears in his eyes. "I saw you waiting," Solara nodded. "You were the only thing that felt real. Outside, the world was preparing for war. But inside the Ark, something greater was waking. Not a weapon, not a soldier, but a human rebuilt by fate." Jake stood tall, the light in his chest now burning gold. He looked at Solara and said, "Let's end this. Together." The sky cracked open, not with thunder, but with ships. They came without warning, without mercy, not as explorers, not as saviors. They came for one thing, Solara. But Earth was no longer a silent planet. Now it had a voice, and that voice was human. The sky over the city turned dark at noon, not because of clouds, but because something massive blocked the sun. A black ship, shaped like a blade, hovered over downtown. No sound, no engine, just a shadow that made the world feel small. People screamed, ran, pointed phones at the sky. But no signal worked, no news, no power. Everything was silent, except for one message, now playing from every screen, every speaker. "Deliver the girl, or we will take the planet." Deep underground, in the glowing arc, Jake stood near the control panel. His hands touched ancient keys. They moved for him now, not because he understood them, but because they recognized him. Solara stood beside him, her eyes locked on the hologram of the enemy ship. "They're using Earth as a hostage," she said. "They know I won't let it burn." Jake clenched his jaw. There has to be another way. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the arc. Not a machine, not human. It was the hunter, broadcasting straight to Jake's mind. "You have awakened. Impressive, but the girl belongs to us. Give her to me, or become ashes with her." Jake's head throbbed with pressure, but he stayed standing. "She's not yours," he said aloud. "She's not anyone's." The plan was simple, but dangerous. Jake and Solara would go to the surface. Let the aliens believe she would surrender, while underground, the Ark's core would charge a hidden weapon, something left behind by the first ones. A single strike, powerful enough to bring down the ship. But it had to be done manually. Someone had to activate it from inside the ship, Jake volunteered. Without thinking, Solara said no. Jake insisted. "You've been running your whole life." He said, "It's my turn to take the risk." Solara touched his face gently. "You're not a soldier." "No," Jake said. "I'm something else now." Above, the hunter waited. A metal monster with no fear, no heart. He stood inside the control room, watching Earth like a chessboard, but one piece was missing. Jake, the human who broke the rules. The human who now burned like a star on the roof of a tall building. Solara walked forward, hands raised. Behind her, Jake moved in silence, slipping through shadows. He held the key crystal, his body glowing with it. The ships hovered above. The hunter descended in silence, landing like a god. "You came," he said to Solara. "You always obey in the end." She looked up at him, calm but cold. "No," she said. "I came to distract you." Suddenly, boom. A blast from underground lit the skyline. The Ark's weapon fired upward, slicing through the air like a blue beam. The hunter turned too slow. Jake leaped from behind, slamming the crystal into a port on the alien ship's hull. The ship screamed alive. Angry, it shook, cracked, and began to fall. The city watched in silence as the great black ship burned through the clouds, a shadow turning into fire, falling like a defeated god. Jake collapsed, coughing. His arms burned, light fading from his skin, but he was alive and Solara was beside him. He looked up at the sky. The ship was gone, the hunter gone. For the first time, Earth was quiet again. Some stories end with a bang, others with silence, but this one ends with a choice, not of power, not of planets, but of the heart. 3 days after the battle, the city was healing. The black ship was gone, burned into memory. The news called it a meteor storm. No one knew the truth, except the few who saw stars fall with their own eyes. Jake sat on the roof of his apartment, bandages on his arms, tired eyes. The blue glow inside him was gone, but something deeper had awakened. He watched the sunrise, waiting for her. And then she came. Solara stepped through a ripple in the air, silent, graceful, wearing Earth clothes. Now simple, gray hoodie, soft sneakers, but her eyes still lit like galaxies. "You didn't say goodbye," Jake said, quietly. She sat beside him. I didn't want to, she said. I didn't know how. Jake looked at the city below. People walking, laughing, living. Are you leaving Earth? He asked. She nodded slowly. My people found me, she said. They sent a message. Come home, be queen, lead the stars. Jake smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. That's good, he said. You deserve peace. She turned to him. I don't want the stars, she whispered. I don't want a throne. He looked at her confused. Then what do you want? Solara took his hand, soft and warm. Her voice shook just a little. Everyone wants me, she said. The galaxy, the council, the enemies I escaped. But I want you human. Jake didn't speak. He couldn't, not yet. He just looked at her. Then stay, he said softly. Not as a queen. Not as a weapon. Just as you, Solara smiled. The kind of smile that made time stop. I can't stay forever, she said, but I can come back. Jake looked down. And what do I do now? She leaned close, her forehead touching his. You live, she said. You matter. More than you know. She stood, and for a moment, the air shimmered around her. Then she stepped back through the ripple, gone. But the light she left behind stayed, not in the sky, not in machines, but in Jake. Sometimes the world is saved by heroes with weapons, and sometimes by people who choose to believe. Jake walked into the city as morning began. No powers now, no crown, but a quiet fire in his heart. He wasn't chosen anymore. He chose, and that made all the difference.